I'm gonna stop talking and we're gonna do a podcast because I got stuff to say. Now I'm loose.
As if you weren't before, baby.
I wasn't. I was gaping, but not loose.
Rigid gape.
A rigid gape. Wow,
it's my death metal band.
A rigid. That is incredible. A rigid gape.
Rigid gape.
We're back on the rigid gape.
Sights and sounds and edges found. You will now get down with Rigid Gape, the Rigid Gape Podcast Network.
By God, that's a rigid gape, King. Through hellfire and rigid gapes. Yeah, guys, sorry, I got the weirdest boner right now. I gotta step out for about 2 minutes and 46 seconds. Sights and sounds and edges found. You will now get down with the Underground. Post it up on the OTC YouTube channel and find all of our content at otcffb.com. Dynasty Underground is back. I am Trav, your zany Canadian host, as one of our listeners called me. I like that. And with me, as always, the wise man, Jax Falcone. Been a couple weeks, and it is good to be back with the boys. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, man, super excited. What a pre-show too. I we never know what's on the cold open until we actually listen back. But something tells me that some of you guys are chuckling right now because that was pretty solid stuff right there, Bubba.
Yeah, it's so unexpected, and sometimes we'll come in and we don't really we never really have anything planned for the cold open. We think we'll just get into the show. Maybe we won't talk for that long. We might have to dig in the actual show for some cold open, but sometimes we get bangers out of the pre-show, and that's always my favorite. And I think we definitely did the listeners proud on this one. I think so.
For sure.
And of course, casual Kuvatakis, Joe Quavius, how are you doing? Good to see you, my friend.
Good to be back, and I just want to apologize to the listeners. It is my fault. There was no show last week because I was in Vegas. But I'm coming back with a gift, something that's not going to stay in Vegas. So I was there for a conference, and I rolled in on Monday, and I had to go pool party, cocktail party, dinner. And so there wasn't going to be enough time for me to go back to my hotel because, in Vegas, especially, it just takes forever. All this stuff is kind of planned consecutively. So I'm like, what do I wear to all of these events and be able to pull it off? And I landed on this really nice Hawaiian shirt that I found in my closet. One I hadn't even worn yet. I was like, you know what? This actually could work. This works for every single one of these things. It's casual enough, but it's also like a button up. It's perfect. I ran it by my wife. She was like, oh my God, that looks so good on you. I was like, I know. I've never even worn this shirt before. It looks great. So anyways, I'm rocking this Hawaiian shirt all day long. And, I noticed I was getting some looks from the ladies. And I was just like, yeah, but they were all a little weird. It's just but it's right after EDC. Some of them have pink hair. A lot of them have tattoos. A lot of them piercings in places I don't love. But anyways, I just noticed an extra bit of attention. I was like, all right, Joe still got it. So anyways, I'm between my last cocktail party and this dinner when this girl who's with what seems to be her boyfriend is giving me the eye. And I'm just like, this is kind of weird, making me a little uncomfortable. And she goes, I love your shirt. I'm like, what? Thanks. I like your shirt too, right? I don't even know what I said, but it was just so forward. The way she said it was there was an implication. And then she looks at me and she shows me an upside down pineapple tattoo. And my shirt's this Hawaiian shirt that's got these pineapples all over it, right? So she shows me an upside down pineapple tattoo. And I'm just like, oh. And I was like, well, my shirt doesn't have upside down pineapples on it, does it? And then I look down, and there are upside down pineapples kind of all over the shirt. It's just it occurred to me right then and there why I was getting all of these looks. Do you guys know what that means?
I don't know. I'm drawing. What's an upside down pineapple stand for?
Oh my God. That's a symbol for swingers. That's when you go to a party and there's an upside down pineapple, it's a swingers party. And it didn't even occur to me. I just thought this was
Shit.
like a shirt that looked great on me. And I'm getting these looks all day long, thinking like, I must be looking good, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
They were trying to take you home.
They were trying to take me home. And I'm sitting there with
You were the single guy over there, like, single and ready to mingle.
Yeah, like flaunting it, you tease.
All day long, I was getting looks. I was getting like, just more than usual. And I'm just attributing it to being in Vegas and, looking kind of good. No, that was not the case.
No, you were basically a call Joe.
I was putting vibes out, apparently. I had no
Might as
idea.
well have had your bird hanging out your zipper.
Yep, your striblin was hanging out. Look at you, Joe. So,
Wow.
how'd it go?
Yeah, you get it?
So I went to a very nice dinner and, went to the conference the next day. What do you want from me?
Could have figured. Could have figured you wouldn't have cheated on your family with some swingers in Vegas.
Yeah, with your
Knew how this one was gonna end.
your less than 1-year-old son. Rat.
Yeah.
Some were cute. Some were cute, but come on, guys. Come on.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's interesting,
Wow.
Joe. I almost wouldn't have wanted to learn that information because I would have wanted to fly out of Vegas riding the high of thinking I was catching all of those stares from everybody, but
It's a nice shirt, you know what I mean?
yeah. I'm sure you did look handsome nonetheless, fella. I'm sure you did.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure.
Yep.
Vegas is a very weird place.
There you go.
Yep.
Congratulations. Happy for you.
So after Joe's almost snafu in Vegas, we got a fantasy show to talk about here, boys. But I do want to mention,
This is the only threesome that I participate in.
Yeah, exactly. Joe's in the threesome that he comes home to, and it's this one.
Yeah.
And we appreciate him for that. And we got a fantasy show. Yeah,
Pants are optional.
Always optional. Always optional. Yeah, we don't see anything from the waist down, so you're good.
Next week, I'm actually going to wear the shirt.
Yeah,
please. I think that's the only way to go.
Yeah. Hopefully, we don't get any listeners too hot and bothered with you wearing that shirt, but only time will tell.
I mean, I can never wear it in public again. So,
yeah.
Well,
okay, boys. I've tried to get into this show about 4 times now, so I just want to tell the listeners that they should go subscribe to that otcffb.com. We've had great reception so far. New feature just went up where you get a trade. You're not quite sure exactly what you think about it. You can press the share button and share it straight to our Discord, where people in our Discord can comment or vote on your trade. Just a new little feature as we're adding them all the time. So great website. Love everything that Keegan is building over there. So go check it out. And we got a show to do, and we are actually doing a bit of a continuation of the show we did 2 weeks ago, guys. If you recall, we had to cut the piss off because we went long. Nobody is surprised there. And so we did quarterbacks and running backs, and what we were doing was taking the rookies and supplanting them into our dynasty rankings, talking about the tiers of players they were around, a little bit of upside, a little bit of offensive outlook. We're going to do the wide receivers and the tight ends on this episode, boys. And I think this is going to be really fun because it's kind of the meat and potatoes of the draft class. Going to be a good time getting through those wide receivers. I can't wait to hear where you guys have them. But you guys mentioned that we should probably touch on some of this NFL news that we've been hearing. Today, the news broke that Josh Jacobs turned himself in for what I read as a domestic violence situation. Don't need to go too much further into it there, as we'll comment on the fantasy implications. Keegan very quickly threw out a screenshot of his Josh Jacobs shares in the group chat, boys, and told us all to do so. I was happy to find that I had 0 shares and 0 cares. That's not to say that I think that this really amounts to something huge for his fantasy relevance, but not something that I have to deal with. So, Joe, where are you sitting on this as far as level of impact to how you're treating Josh Jacobs in your fantasy leagues?
Well, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and I've done 0 research on this aside from seeing that tweet from Adam Schefter, isn't it a minimum mandatory 6-game ban in the NFL? Aren't domestic violence issues just so he turned himself in. He's probably going to fight it somehow and just wanted to just get this resolved as quickly as possible and start the legal proceedings and start fighting in court, would be my guess. So it could be nothing for this season. But given Jacob's age, I imagine he's going to try and fight this and put it off another year. But it's probably a 6-game ban somewhere looming if he's found guilty, but we don't have nearly enough information. I think it's maybe a buy opportunity, because the way these things go, unless he like pleads guilty right away, it's probably going to take a while for this to play out. By the time it does, he's probably not going to be all that useful to us anyway. So actually, I think I just talked myself into trying to buy Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where in the doldrums of what month is it right now? May, June. It's like any news like this, you can see like the top 3 trending players on Sleeper were Damian Martinez, and all the other backup running backs, Chris Brooks and Marshawn Lloyd. All 3 of them were number 1, 2, and 3, trending. I don't think that's necessarily going to be too much of an issue going forward. As a matter of fact, I think if Josh Jacobs were to miss an extensive amount of time, they'd likely bring in a back. They were kind of one of the teams that everybody was surprised didn't do anything in the backfield, and that kind of made Josh Jacobs and even Chris Brooks like, how the hell is Chris Brooks the RB2 on this Packer team? So, everybody was a bit surprised by that. I'd certainly be way surprised if any one of those 3 were the RB1 for the Packers if Josh Jacobs were to miss time. Josh Jacobs also released a sort of a statement, if you will, that said, or his attorney did, whatever the case. I read it quickly, but basically the gist of it was, there's evidence that hasn't been mentioned yet. We're going to share it, and please show some restraint, which was kind of interesting considering he was,
choice wording there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting wording that they use there. I think for me, like Joe, I might be a little bit more cautious on the buy just because of that age and kind of the tread that's maybe not left on the tires that you mentioned there, because he's had a lot of carries, he's had a lot of injuries. If you can get it at a reasonable price and you need that running back, though, I think at some point you're going to get a very strong running back 2 with running back 1 weeks for at least another season and a half, maybe, if we take that 6 games off of 2 seasons. So I think that's a pretty good take there. Another one, Rashee Rice back on the reefer, boys. He is not like me. He cannot just choose to do that whenever the fuck he wants. But he seems to do it anyway. And this time he had to spend, I think, 30 days in the slammer. So hopefully, hopefully all was well in there. But knuckleheadedness persists for Rashee Rice. And Jax, I would say as far as the underground goes, you've probably been the leader of the train for Rashee. And so I ask you, like, how big of a dent does this stuff put in the armor for Rashee now? Not to like trash on the take or anything like that, but like as somebody who is so staunch in the Rashee camp, has this made you come off?
In the famous words of the parents of the girl who was implicated in the crash, have you guys seen this? The crash?
Isn't it like a new like Netflix doc out? No, I think I've been meaning to watch it, but I haven't.
Definitely check it out. Zilla, whatever her name is. The parents, hey, look, if he wants to smoke weed, I think it's fine. I smoke weed. Why am I mad at him for smoking weed? So for sure, I think that's the take I'm going to have here is the fucked up dad on the crash.
I mean, I feel a little hypocritical to do any knocking of him too, Jax. So I feel that. Joe, how about yourself?
I mean, it's not, the NFL's become pretty lax on weed, more recently. I don't think that's the issue with Rashee. I think it's a violation of his parole, which is the issue.
Correct.
And so I don't know, there's not really a precedent for this because he was already on parole. So it's like, is he going to get in trouble for violating the terms of his parole and, get a message from the NFL that way, like stop, being an idiot every offseason and making us look bad every offseason. So I don't know. I just saw, I retweeted, somebody made like the new Grand Theft Auto game just starring Rashee Rice.
Yes.
That's the funniest thing I've seen on the internet.
That's awesome. You should, then you can go and like play like a Madden. You know what I mean? Then you go out of the game and you go through the locker room and you're back to fucking just doing some.
Yeah. So
that'd be a great game.
GTA Madden crossover.
Yes. GTA Madden crossover where you're late for the game. You're fucking running people over. Yes. Tell me you're not playing immediately. I want to play right
playing
now.
immediately. Playing
Grand
immediately.
Theft
Yeah.
Rashee.
I would never podcast again if that game came out. I would never podcast again.
Just
So the thing with Rashee though is like he just had knee surgery a week prior, so I can't imagine he can rehab in jail the way he'd be rehabbing otherwise. So it can't be great from that standpoint. I don't know. I think it was like a cleanup procedure or something. So maybe it's not that big of a deal. And maybe he can do a certain amount in prison. Long term, from a dynasty standpoint, the Chiefs said earlier this offseason, like, we're reluctant to extend Rashee until he proves he can stay out of trouble. And sure enough, like weeks later, I don't even know if it was even a month later after that statement, this guy, violates the terms of his parole. So is he going to get another contract with the Chiefs? I don't know. I'm very skeptical. But then again, like, I don't know, they'd probably just see the opportunity to re-sign him on the cheap and then use that extra money to go sign another receiver that, fills.
Or he goes somewhere else, and it's like it hardly matters in some ways. I mean, it feels like a little bit of a nothing burger. Although I do look down at some of my rosters with Rashee and Nabers and Jacobs, and I'm like, oof, let's go, boys.
I have a lot of Rashee Nabers combos, and I'm like, it's going to be a rough start to the season.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little scary,
Joe, with that, you laid it out pretty nicely, probably better than I could. Why don't you talk about what's going on with Malik Nabers, and then we'll talk about what we're doing there.
I mean, my understanding is, I'm not sure when, but he had a cleanup procedure in his knee because of residual scar tissue, which obviously is not good. Anytime a player is having surgery, particularly a wide receiver in their knee, it's like, okay, this might take a little while. So the goalpost has moved from like ready for training camp to hope he's ready for week 1, which very much could mean, he's starting on PUP. There's no reason for the Giants to rush him back, this franchise completely game-changing player. So I don't know. I tend to think they won't start him on PUP and they'll give him every chance to play, but unless it's really bad. If they put him on PUP, it's a bad sign. It's a really bad sign. It's a really bad sign.
I mean, you have to hope that the 23-year-old phenom athlete is going to be fine, but it's scary. Anytime your player is hurt. I mean, it's one thing if you have like Malik Davis on a roster and he's hurt, you're like, hope he gets better. But when it's like one of your superstars, a Malik Nabers level, that becomes a little scary. I do think it's probably a buy situation for all of these guys, just because there's blips in the radar all the time and people freak out. And then we look back and we're like, oh yeah, remember when Tyreek Hill was like, we were worried about him and he just went off for 2,000 yards the next season. So, sometimes I think these things can be a little bit more of a nothing burger than most, but the knee is a little tiny bit concerning here with Malik Nabers.
Yeah. I've got over 40% Nabers ownership. So yeah, it's very concerning. I built my whole thesis around a player like Malik Nabers because we were so on him when he came out. I mean, I have just an absurd amount of him. He's arguably, aside from some of the rookies, aside from Makai Lemon and Luther Burden, that's and Bashal too. That's like the most owned player in my portfolio, right?
Yeah.
All my guys.
I love Malik Nabers. You know that.
Yeah, I think this is a Malik Nabers household because I love me some Malik Nabers too.
The original Malik Nabers household. Please get well, Malik.
You're goddamn right. You are goddamn right. And lastly on the list, just some more tough vibes. Bucky Irving coming along slower in that recovery than expected.
Who could have seen this coming? Who could have seen this coming?
Joe was right.
Yeah.
Trav, that Travis Etienne Bucky Irving trade where you gave up value to get Bucky starting to hurt a little bit.
Not looking great, boys. That's for sure. I'm still hopeful. Still believe in the talent of Bucky, but that's not looking as good right now. So, but it's okay. You live and learn.
Yeah, I think Kenny Gainwell actually means a lot to that equation too, just because he's so good. And I was listening to Dwayne and Ian Hartitz talk, and they just mentioned quickly that like also Kenny Gainwell got a lot more money than like Algier and a lot of those free agents that signed. So he was a priority with purpose and with pay. So maybe there's a bit more there with Kenny Gainwell, even if they're both healthy and everything's good to go, let alone the situation that could slow him down before the season starts. I would say these things are interesting because then a guy just all of a sudden like takes over and practice and all these things, and all of a sudden he's the RB1 and people start seeing him as that, and his role just sort of, Kenny Gainwell that is, just grows a little bit because I don't know, everybody trusts him now. He's part of the fabric of the team a bit more than if he was just sort of trying to get time on the field with Bucky sort of boxing him out, right? So these things matter.
Totally.
Yeah. And if it doesn't work out, we've always got another personal favorite of mine, Sean Tucker, who's still on the team and got a lot in his restricted free agent tender.
That's what I was going to say. I think if Bucky comes into the season hurt or isn't able to start the season, or even if Gainwell goes down at some point in the season, I think Sean Tucker is definitely interesting because he does different things than both of those guys do, right? He's got size that both of those guys don't. And so I think, I think it's definitely a boost for Gainwell, but I think it maybe makes me more interested in Tucker than it does make me increase the interest on Gainwell, if that makes sense. It probably doesn't, because it's just my high.
No, it does make sense. And look, if you're playing in leagues where it's not all that, where it's a soft league right now, sure, the clear advice is to go get Gainwell and Tucker. I think that kind of spells itself. Like, if you're listening to this and you don't think that directly, then that's kind of a you problem. But that's right. If you're in some soft leagues where people aren't really paying as much attention, these are the easy guys to go pick up and get, but I think those are two great stashes at running back this season.
Mm-hmm. And if you need to throw a running back in, I don't think anybody's looking at Sean Tucker as that necessarily. So toss him in on something where you need a little bit of extra value, and you might be able to get that.
No doubt, man. No doubt.
Okay, boys, we're going to get into these rookies. We're going to talk about how they fit into our dynasty rankings, but we're going to do that right after this. We're back on Dynasty Underground. Gonna get into these rookies and how they fare amongst our dynasty ranked veterans. Guys, we're gonna start with the wide receivers. It's just a sexy position, right?
Yeah.
We have a really nice group at the top with Carnell Tate, Makai Lemon, and Jordyn Tyson. Not necessarily in that order, boys. Let's start. Okay, who do you guys have as your highest of the three? Don't even say the rank of him. Just who do you have as your highest of the three? Carnell Tate is mine.
I'll be honest with you guys. I wanted to do this exercise with you. I'm trying to see where I even have.
I can tell you. I can tell you. No, I can just tell you that. I mean, I have Makai Lemon as my wide receiver 1. And what was crazy is sometimes when I'm doing this exercise of putting the player into the ranks, sometimes I change my ranks because I'm like, actually, I don't feel comfortable having this player ahead of that player because when I put him into the ranks, it just doesn't feel right and my brain changes and I'm like, I'm not so sure. But in this particular case, I actually feel really good about it because I have Makai Lemon, and I'm going to sort of spoil this by revealing where I have Carnell Tate as well. But I have Makai Lemon back to back with Lad McConkey at 15 and 16, right? So right in that spot. And I have Carnell Tate sandwiched between Marvin Harrison and Rome Odunze at 18, 19, 20. And they're all very close. And of course, anything could change. But I think it kind of stands to reason. Like even I actually have Makai Lemon right there with Burden and McConkey behind them, right? Because it's like I think that the sort of player that Makai Lemon can be this sort of McConkey Burden type. And I think that the player that Carnell Tate could be, and actually he's right around Nico Collins too. So Nico Collins, Marvin Harrison, Rome Odunze, Carnell Tate fits right into that group. So I think that's where I see it. Now, is there room for downside and upside for both of these guys? Of course, obviously. But that's just kind of where I see them. And, ready to be wrong. Obviously, we already know everything is wrong about the rankings.
We're all going to be wrong on all of
all
these.
Wrong. All this is wrong, but that's the way I see it right now. And obviously, Makai Lemon is looking for the A.J. Brown trade to wherever the hell he's going as soon as possible. But, if that were to not happen, I think he would probably come down a little bit. But that's not what we're anticipating.
So I'm looking at where I have my ranks, and I actually have Carnell Tate, even though I have Lemon over him in the rookie rankings, and he's my wide receiver 1. Based on current situation, I actually took the complete coward's route. And I've got 23, 24, 25 as A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, and Makai Lemon, which is completely BS, which is why I wanted to talk to you guys about this.
That's not correct.
Sorry, I don't know. What? Brown, Smith, Lemon.
Smith and
That's not
Lemon
correct.
as 23,
You're
24,
not.
25.
Let me just clear this up. You are not trading the 105 for AJ Brown.
That's right.
You are not doing that.
You're right.
You would never do
that. That's a great way to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. Never would you do that. You're not doing it. Even if it's Tyson, Tate, or Lemon.
I don't think I would look at it like that, though, especially because now you're looking at it as it's not the 105. It's a player that's on a team in a situation with an ecosystem, right? So I actually would look at it a little bit different than that.
That's kind of where I was coming from
105 anymore,
in this ranking is until AJ Brown gets traded, I kind of don't know what to do with this cluster of players. And so I just did the cowardly thing of putting them together until we see some movement.
On the basis that like AJ Brown gets traded and he moves some way from that. I have AJ Brown behind right now just because I'm kind of banking on the trade. I'm not sure where he's going to move when he does trade. I'm not sure if he does go to New England necessarily. But I took an entirely different coward's way out, Joe. It was, I thought you were going to say the same. When you said 23, 24, 25, I thought you were going to say the exact same thing that I did. My coward's way out. I've got these rookies back to back to back.
Of course you guys do. You guys are all a bunch of cowards.
But there's different tiers. There's different tiers. I think there's similar upside to these guys, right? So Carnell Tate is in a tier with Marvin Harrison Jr. and Brian Thomas Jr. And then the next tier, right above Jalen Waddle, is Jordyn Tyson, Makai Lemon. So 22 is Tate, 23 Tyson, 24 Lemon. I think Carnell Tate, like to me, Tyson is over Lemon now because I trust in the offense that he has. And I think that it's a place that can realize the upside that we want from Tyson. If it was a different spot, he would probably be a bit lower. But everything I'm hearing is really good about how they plan on complementing Chris Olave with him. I trust like I said, the play caller is just incredible. So that's where that trust lies for me. But I kept them close because I don't know a ton about the Eagles play caller, Sean Mannion. So maybe Lemon is extra dope, but I was hedging a little bit on the fact that there's so much uncertainty around these guys. I'm not ready to bring them up into the top 15 with guys like a McConkey, with like a Pickens, with like a Garrett Wilson, Rome Odunze. You know what I mean? I'm not ready to do that yet.
Well, what's blowing my mind is that I heard you both more or less say you got Marvin Harrison somewhere around wide receiver 20. And I've got him down at 28. I've got all of these guys above Marvin Harrison. What has Marvin Harrison done to deserve to be above them? All we've seen him do is kind of underwhelm for a couple of consecutive seasons now. So I don't know.
I think he now has a quarterback who can deliver him the ball. There's projection there. We saw his quarterback.
Which one is that? Which one is that?
Well,
which quarterback is that?
We think that he's going in with Jacoby Brissett, but like none of the rookies have really done anything to be over those guys necessarily either, right? So I think the argument could go both ways, right?
I don't know. All right, so we'll table the Marvin Harrison thing.
No. I've got something to say about Marvin Harrison, because here's the thing: the reason that we bought in to JSN to some degree was because of the model score. Well, look, there's nobody who's really been. Marvin Harrison's over a 90. He's one of like 7 or 8 players who scored over a 90 in the model. He was hurt last year. He had Kyler Murray problems that you guys were espousing, these huge Kyler Murray issues for Marvin Harrison Jr. You guys couldn't stop saying that. I agree. I'm not trying to argue back at that, but I'm just saying, remember your take. Marvin Harrison Jr. was awesome. We had him at the 102 or wide receiver 2 in that class. We don't think he all of a sudden sucks. He's had some pretty big plays. He had some abhorrent drops that could have gone for a lot more on the stat sheet. He's 23 years old. He's got pedigree. He's a top 10 draft pick. What are you not buying in on, Marvin Harrison Jr.? Whatever are you waiting for a year 3 breakout than more than Marvin Harrison Jr.?
It's interesting because I have AJ Brown at 28 where you have Marv. But I have Marv.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, I think I need to move AJ Brown down.
AJ Brown's 29 for me as well, yeah. I mean, I'm surprised I'm that close to where you have him, Trav. Good for you to, kind of, but for me, it's like, would I rather have, all these guys, T. Higgins, Jamison Williams, Waddle, Flowers, all those guys I want ahead of AJ Brown. I mean, look, AJ Brown might outscore them this year, but he's getting old. It didn't look all that good last year. it wasn't awesome. It wasn't like, oh no, he's still in his prime. There's some signs that actually there could be some seepage for AJ Brown, and we might just not have the alpha season left in him. And that scares me, because as soon as that's gone, so's the value, and nobody's going to want him. So for those reasons, I want to definitely have him behind those guys. And again, I think you guys are kind of, wimping out a little bit on this tier of 3 wide receivers. Look, I have a preference. It is Makai Lemon, and he is ahead of Carnell Tate. And I have Jordyn Tyson. Look, I have him at 16, 19, and 24. And that's Lemon, Tate, and Tyson. I think they're all right there. But I have like Tyson, back with Waddle and Higgins and Zay Flowers, because I think that's a little bit more of what he profiles as. Whereas I think, Carnell Tate profiles a lot like Marvin Harrison, Rome Odunze, right? I mean, and then I think that the upside play is Makai Lemon, and I want to prioritize him, and I want to get him well ahead of all that, and I want to get him right after all the other sort of right after the Garrett Wilson, Ibuka, Burden, Pickens, McConkey, right after those guys are gone, the sure bets, the sure bet young wide receivers. At that point, I'm turning my attention to Makai Lemon. I played startups that exact same way for Emeka Ibuka, and boy, oh boy, I mean, he was falling all over the place, and I was able to grab Ibuka in many startups last year, and it paid off big time.
What's interesting is I've got Tate at about 16 right now, but just hearing all your players, we're just in completely different places right now. Like, I've got Zay Flowers up in that neck of the woods too, along with Rashee Rice, George Pickens. Then I've got Rome Odunze, Jameson Williams, T. Higgins, Ladd, Lemon, Smith, Waddle.
I think this is all 16 to 30 though, essentially. And so while they are jumping around, that's kind of in that area. I'm hearing the same
tiers,
thing too. Similar guys, just jumpy a little bit. I don't think we're that far off on the rookies either, Jax, because you've got them between 16 and 24. I've got them between 22 and 24, right? And I've got
them from 16 to 26 right now. Yeah,
I could see Carnell Tate moving up into, as I look at it, I could put him at 18. So I don't think it's necessarily that far off. Carnell Tate is definitely my clear one. And then I just recently, within the last week, moved Tyson over Makai Lemon. So that's new for me. And I'm just trying it out right now, just testing the waters.
You're making me hate this, but I got to move. All right. I've got
our Dynasty, our rankings episodes are so fucking funny.
I know. But I also think you guys are disrespecting Zay Flowers and T. Higgins.
Well, no, I'm not. And I am disrespecting Zay Flowers, so I'm going to move him up a little bit. But that being said, I think there's touchdown upside issues with him. He showed me last season. You guys remember I dogged on Zay Flowers a little bit last year. He showed me yardage upside that I didn't think he was capable of with over 1,200 yards. I still do think there is touchdown upside where there's guys that I think are candidates for double digits around that range, where I don't think he's necessarily a candidate for double digits, especially with one Jacoby Lane coming in there, who we might talk about later.
This makes us a pretty big fade on AJ Brown. I was just looking. AJ Brown, wide receiver 18 in startup ADP right now. That's crazy to me. Ahead of Luther Burden. That's rough stuff, man.
He's like ultra win now. Like, I think the production in the next, if you see him going to the Patriots and you see those next 2 big years of production, you could make that case for sure. What I would have probably a year ago, Jax, I would have had that same ranking, but you guys have actually made me start to allow those rookies to come in, even though we haven't seen it yet from them. Just maybe not quite as high as where you might be willing to like take them. One thing I want to say too, Jax, if you never use the word seepage again on this show, that would be 100% fine, because that word made me feel some things.
I was going to mention the rigid gape again, but nothing.
I couldn't let you get by on that without mentioning it, at least, because I thought it was a great vocab word for the context that you used it for, and it also made me feel a little bit disgusting when you said it.
Jordyn Tyson, Makai Lemon at wide receivers 21 and 22. So we're there. I think if you're using our rankings, if you will, you're gonna, if you're using mine, you're gonna get, Makai Lemon for sure, and you might miss the other two.
So let me ask you: do you have Makai over Rashee Rice then?
Yes.
And I presume then
he is the guy
Rome Odunze or Makai Lemon?
Makai Lemon. Yeah. I would have Rashee right in there. I moved him down with the bad news. So, Rashee just sort of fell a little bit. I had him ahead.
Where is he now,
so
though?
Rashee,
what's his number?
I have him right behind Rome Odunze 21. That may be wrong.
I
don't know.
have
I'm
him at
just
19,
a little bit,
and I'm going to bring him down now.
I'd be a little hesitant with Rashee right now. I'm just a little skittish.
Mhm.
I feel like where I had him ranked was probably close to ceiling. And whenever I have someone close to their ceiling, I have Makai Lemon pretty close to ceiling now, right, too? So you start to go, okay, well, someone's got to fall, but also someone has to be there, too. You have to say, if I'm on the clock here, who am I taking?
Yeah.
And,
let me ask you, you talked me into putting Lemon over Tate. It sounds like I'm way lower on Lad than you guys as well, which actually surprised me.
Where do you have him?
I just had him at about 21. I just moved him higher, but
I got him at 15.
All right. Okay,
15.
so okay. I just moved him to 16 actually as we were talking. So
Yeah.
Lad or Lemon then? You got Lad ahead of Lemon?
It's close.
Lad. I got Lad ahead.
Yeah, I think it's close to Lad though. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right. I'm not.
You're lower on T than me too, Jax. You're lower on T. I have him at 18.
Yeah.
That's the line. So T, and then I have Olave at 17, Burden at 16. And so 17 between Olave and Higgins is the line where I could get Carnell Tate up to. I could get him above Higgins, I think. But that's Tate for me. I'm just like I'm a little bit
high. I'm irrationally high on Luther Burden, is what I'm hearing.
Well, I think there's just a lot of for me, and I'm an Eagles fan.
13.
Okay, I've got him at 12.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see that shake out because there's skill sets for all of these wide receivers, and they're pretty unique to them amongst those three guys. So I think it's going to be an interesting watch for sure.
I think I'd be fine buying into the Bears offense at any cost. Colson Loveland at this particular point, you can't take him too high. Because I feel like if you took him as tight end 1, I'd be like, okay, whatever. That's maybe crazy, but it could fucking be totally right. Like, there's a world where Colson Loveland is the runaway tight end 1 this year. Like, that's not out of the question. Like, that's not something that's like,
made me so
happy.
No,
that couldn't. No, but I mean, it's just, I'm being honest. Like, this offense, I'm not sure where it splits up, but right now it feels super condensed right around the three guys that everybody likes, Burden, Odunze, and Loveland. And, I don't know, man. All three of them could absolutely hit at ADP, which is kind of stupid sounding, but one of them is going to hit pretty incredibly, I think.
They're also telegraphing to us by drafting Roush that they're going to be a heavy 12 and often 13 personnel type of team, which further consolidates things for the top 2 wide receivers and probably also bodes well for Loveland as the pass catching tight end. I mean, it's well said. It's perfect. It's lining up perfectly from a fantasy standpoint.
That's kind of been the take for Lad, is that they're also doing the exact same thing, Mike McDaniel's system, fullbacks and all this nonsense, where I think they're going to have fewer and fewer wide receivers, which is one of the reasons you saw me probably making some sells on Trey Harris.
Sad.
I like Trey Harris fine, but I think that this really bodes well for Lad McConkey, who should be the every down wide receiver. There's still, I know that we're holding a Keenan Allen bag collectively in the
we are with that FA beside him. Yeah.
And it's not out of the woods that he doesn't make his way back to the Chargers, which would be stinky, dirty, awful. And I would hate it.
Yeah.
But as of right now, Lad feels like a primed for a big season.
Allen needs to go to the Raiders. Like, absolutely has to go to the Raiders.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
And then we are stoked about him sitting on the bottom of that depth chart because he's going to go and he's going to get targets somewhere.
Yes.
So, Okay, boys, we got this next group of wide receivers. I've tiered them out as Concepcion, Cooper, and Boston. Want to talk about, I know that they're probably not ranked in that order for you guys either. Jax, I'm pretty sure you have Cooper over Concepcion. I have Concepcion clearly above Cooper, but why don't you talk about how you have them split?
Yeah, I'm just looking at it right now. I coin in the air. I did take Concepcion in a league where they were both there. I hadn't had really a chance to take Concepcion over Cooper. Excuse me, because everywhere where I had that pick, I traded back, traded out, did a lot of trading, and of course, nobody really took Cooper over Concepcion. Excuse me. So that really left Cooper for me many times. So I have a ton of Cooper, not a ton of Concepcion. But when it comes to this exercise, none of that matters. And I gotta, put them somewhere. I have them after AJ Brown, right? So, I mean, I think, after AJ Brown, you can start thinking about a lot of different players, DJ Moore, Michael Wilson, there's a Christian Watson, the artist formerly known as Jordan Addison.
DK.
Terry McLaurin's going to have a huge year. Excuse me. Josh Downs, right? So there's a ton of players. I think they're in that group of players, which, I'm not really sure, but, you have to start prioritizing them and making them, a priority if you want to get them in some sort of a startup. That's for sure.
Yeah. Joe?
Agreed. I've actually got Concepcion in the exact same place, which is right after AJ Brown, followed by Jaden Higgins, another model favorite. And there is Omar Cooper. And right after those three is where Brian Thomas lives. I heard you guys ranking Brian Thomas a lot higher too. And
Wow.
I don't know. I think I was the highest on him coming out. He had the great rookie year. I was definitely the highest on him going into last year. But to me, like, he had just such a jarring sophomore campaign in so many ways. And similar to how we were saying Marvin Harrison had a why am I blanking? A problem last year.
Kyler Murray problem.
Kyler Murray problem. Yeah, exactly. I feel like Brian Thomas has a Trevor Lawrence problem where those two just have never really been in sync. And it just seems like the role he had in that rookie year when Trevor was out might not be there again and might not be there in this offense. So that may be just me overreacting to what I've seen, but if I'm looking at this objectively, it was a small 8-game sample size in that rookie season that really lofted him up to the upper echelon, which was probably a mispricing of an asset that the model always had a little bit lower. And I'm not like using the model dogmatically, but it's just like, oh, this is my sober up moment. Like, I don't think he belongs there. I think people are still valuing him there, but I'm sure not buying. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, I think Brian Thomas Jr. was my biggest sell after his rookie year. Not even because I
such
saw
a good
what
call.
happened.
Such a good call. That's what you're so good at knowing when. I get greedy sometimes, but you were so good about that.
Yeah, it wasn't even that I saw this coming. It's not that I saw his sophomore season coming. It was just so obviously an overprice, right? And so with that, you might as well bet against it, right? I mean, because you can't win betting for it. That's the whole point. Like, you can just see these bets that you can't win. What he's got to go off. I think right now though, it's kind of interesting. I have him ahead of Jameson Williams, but if Brian Thomas gave us a Jameson Williams season in 2026, we'd be stoked. So maybe I've got that wrong.
Yeah, and the only reason why I say I hate that you're so good at it is because I am the one who's like, oh man, he gave us 1,100 yards in his rookie season. Can't wait till that 1,400 that he gives us in his sophomore or third year. You know what I mean? Where it's like, fuck, Jax, you're so good at being not loyal to these bastards. And I'm just like, oh, I can't wait to nurture this guy in my wide receiver 1 spot. But it doesn't always work out that way for me. And so, while I say I hate it, I love it. I think we're pretty similar tiers. Like, I've got Concepcion at 33. Kind of like you said, Jack's 5 spots behind AJ Brown, just above Joe, like you said, Jaden Higgins. And I just think there's that versatility and his ability to be kind of the target soaker in Cleveland. I've got Cooper at 41, a little bit behind. I have some more short-term producers ahead of Cooper as opposed to Concepcion, and that's the gap. So like you've got like your Cortland Sutton, Jordan Addison's in there, Christian Watson's in there. Omar Cooper is a guy who I'm just not like, I don't know. I'm not quite sold on the spot for him. I like the player. I'm not sold that the spot is going to allow him to flourish necessarily, and that's why the gap. But I'm ready to be super wrong on that one, and I could see like there's a case for him to be right up beside KC Concepcion for me. I'm just not doing it yet. So yeah, I think both back end in that kind of 3-4 area on dynasty rosters that you can hope turn into wide receiver 2s. Denzel Boston's a hard rank for me, guys. He's a hard rank for me. I could have had you guys know that I'm probably the highest on Boston of the group here. I could have had him right behind Omar Cooper at 43. I have him at 50, though. I have a group of kind of older, like this is where I've got like the Godwin, Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Evans, Diggs, Tyreek Hill type guys. Ready to be wrong there. And this is to say that fear or that concept that we talk about, how some of these tiers can be sliding. So that group of older guys that I'm talking about might not fit a build where you put that group of older guys below the tier of younger guys, where I have Denzel Boston, Quentin Johnston. I had Trey Harris, Jalen McMillan, Jalen Coker, that type of stuff. So not quite ready, but I think Denzel Boston, I mean, we've seen him against air and against guys in shorts look pretty good in these practices, but I'm feeling optimistic.
I've got him at 44 overall right now. I've got him in a tier, and this is a weird tier where it's just a mixed bag of, Devontae Adams and Mike Evans, and I actually want to put Mike Evans ahead of Devontae Adams now that I'm looking at it. They're at the top of it. Then I've got Alec Pierce, which is like, I don't know what to do with this guy. I feel like he should be lower, but I can't ignore what happened last year. Then Michael Wilson, and then I've got Denzel Boston, and I've actually got him in another tier, honestly, with Dejon Stribling. Xavier Worthy lives in this tier. Feels questionable, but maybe not with the Rashee stuff. So I don't really know. But so anyways, 44-ish is where I've got Boston, right next to Stribling. Jax, where are you landing?
Yeah, I've actually got him at 43. I think, I looked at the ADP, and Denzel Boston, that is going wide receiver 43. Jaden Higgins, wide receiver 45. I think that's kind of the guy, right? It's an early second-round pick, and certainly Denzel Boston would have been an early second-round pick in most rookie drafts, as he was the 112 almost every single draft I was in, if he didn't get faded from there. But he never really went ahead of that, maybe a couple times here and there. But, so he's sort of at that 1-2 turn type of player. Certainly Jaden Higgins would have been – we would have had Jaden Higgins ahead of of Denzel Boston in this draft as prospects, right? Close, but we would have had Jaden Higgins ahead.
Yeah.
All that to say that I think they're probably pretty close still, because we haven't seen what Denzel Boston is, and Jaden Higgins kind of did the middle stuff. He kind of did some good stuff, didn't fall on his face. He didn't light the world up, so we still have hope, but we're still not sure. So I think for those reasons, I think I have them close enough, but I would still prefer Jaden Higgins slightly. I think that's kind of where you have to think about these guys. That's probably a choice that you'd have to make in a startup, given that they're going 43 and 45, wide receivers 43 and 45. And I would take Jaden Higgins there. So I have, Denzel Boston a couple spots behind ADP at 44.
No, and since I can't let you guys be the highest on Boston, I did make that change and brought him up right behind Omar Cooper over those older guys, and he's now my wide receiver 43. And actually what you guys did is I had Higgins up at 34, and I brought him back down. So it's now Higgins at 41, Omar Cooper 42, Denzel Boston 43. So I think that was some nice process there, boys. Thank you for the thought exercise.
I'm not moving Higgins down. I got him up 30, and I still believe in him. I think I saw enough from him. Yeah.
I don't hate it at all. No, I love it. I hope you're right, sir. I hope you
are. Yeah, I have him at 39, and I could move him up for sure. Yeah, as a matter of it's tough, man. It's a weird tier, because a lot of these guys, it's like you have like DK Metcalf and Terry McLaurin in with guys like Josh Downs and Jaden Reed, and it's like it's a totally different story to tell about those four types of players, but they kind of give you the same utility. Whereas like a guy like Terry McLaurin, can we talk for a minute? Like what he could be a wide receiver 1 this year. And
my boy,
he probably will be a wide receiver 1 if he stays healthy this year.
Dude, at this particular price in Dynasty, you really have to go out and get yourself Terry McLaurin if you're a contender. I mean, there's really no better buy on the board. This is the Devontae Adams buy from last year. And you could even do the same with Mike Evans and Devontae Adams themselves this year. Those three players, man, it's like, holy smokes. They could have easily very close to wide receiver 1, if not actual wide receiver 1 finishes.
Couldn't agree more. I've got Terry McLaurin, 4 spots ahead of Mike Evans and 5 spots ahead of Devontae Adams. But yeah, they absolutely can deliver wide receiver 1 seasons this year, all 3 of them. Evans is a super interesting case just because I kind of feel like in a Shanahan offense, like
Right.
when there is that dude, especially with a guy like Brock Purdy, who's gonna freaking love to throw him those jump balls, he's gonna go get them. Like I don't know, I'm very bullish about him, but McLaurin, this is just a math problem, right? This is where are the targets going to go in Washington? Because I think he's going to absolutely eat. No holdout this year. He got that contract. It's time for a late career year from a dude who I've always loved, as you guys know, and I've been touting regardless of what you guys tell me for years.
Yeah, no, I like it. Jax, I'm curious to hear where you have Stribling, because I have him at 58 in kind of the bottom of where I had Boston before I moved him up there. So I have him at about 58 behind Coker McMillan type deal.
I'll be honest with you. The rest of the wide receivers, I don't know.
Yeah,
I really don't.
It's hard.
I'm not sure because I don't like drafting any of them. I really don't. So for me, I really don't have a strong case for any of them. I'm kind of, I don't know. I don't know if it's Stribling. I don't know if it's, I just don't know. I really don't know. Chris Bell, like
Ted Hurst,
Surratt, Lane, like all these guys, I'm kind of like, Malachi Fields, you could tell me does something this year, and I'd be like, really? Okay. Like,
well, yeah,
I really don't know.
He's got January Dart 6 as his quarterback. You're damn right he's doing something this year. He's a red-blooded American male, huh?
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Adjust your rankings. Adjust your rankings
on all Giants.
I was very pleasured by that reference.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, the J6 nickname just it sells itself. But
Jaden Daniels is in Washington. All I'm saying.
Yeah. He's not. Yeah. Right. Good point. I mean, he should. How did we not think of that?
Wasn't he J6? I don't know. We're gonna have to think this one through.
I don't think he'd appreciate that nickname. Actually,
JD6. I'm sorry, JD6. They're both JDs. Holy shit!
Wow, that's crazy. I never even knew. Yeah, there you go.
Any of these other wide receivers you want to mention before we ride into the tight ends, Joe?
Hold on. I do want to play a little name game here.
Sure, please.
Because I think that this is how we sort this out. This is how we do it. This is how I actually do my ranking. So I have Downs one spot below Stribling. I know what you're both going to say to that, right?
Downs.
Yeah. I think that's right.
Lot.
I think that's right. Yeah. Okay. Xavier Worthy or DeJon Stribling?
Worthy.
Okay. I'm not mad at it. This one's fun.
You better not be fucking mad at it.
One of our favorites, Jacoby Myers or DeJon Stribling.
Myers.
I think I'm landing Stribling there.
Stribling could be a straight up 0.
The problem with Myers is we're also talking about value, right? And it's like you're never going to get anything from Myers. Myers is a guy you get for cheap, but you're never going to get anything for it aside from
that's where
production
starts.
That's where what Jax
PPR production.
That's where what Jax was talking about with these later wide receivers is actually more of a broad thing when it comes to ranking wide receivers this low in your rankings anyway. It's like it is like almost a meaningless task because there's so many names, right?
I want to keep going. I want to keep going. I want to keep going in this tier. Cortland Sutton or DeJon Stribling?
Sutton.
Even with Waddle in the picture?
Sutton.
Even at his age? Okay.
Sutton.
All right. Wan'Dale Robinson.
Wow.
That's getting close.
I
think I'm Stribling. I think I'm Stribling on that one.
I don't think I can do that one.
My rankings, in fact, stay Stribling by four spots.
Rashid Shaheed.
Stribling by 1 spot.
Yeah, sure.
This one's tough because it's like I actually like Shaheed the player so much more than where I have him ranked, but based on what we saw last year. But new OC, new offense. I don't know. I can't.
I think I'd lean Shaheed. If I'm on the clock, I'm taking Shaheed. Although, again, this is a great opportunity to talk about Dynasty Game Theory 101, which is, of course, that if your league is a 12 by 10, we've gotten to the point where these wide receivers no longer matter. Yeah, and I don't want any of them. I almost don't want any of them. Like literally none of them. These are where I'm cutting it off. Like even before this, Jacoby Myers and stuff. But please continue.
Let's just go some year 2 guys. What about Trey Harris or DeJon Stribling?
That's super close. And you might even want to take the reroll for Stribling.
Yeah, I think you might.
As much as I like Trey Harris.
I hate that. How about this one? Jax? Elijah Surratt or DeJon Stribling? Let's do a little gauge on where those rookies are to see if Stribling is even your next guy up.
No, I prefer Surratt, I guess.
To Stribling?
Yeah, I kind of do. I mean,
well, then where's Surratt?
I don't think I do.
Look, my point is that all these guys, Chris Bell, Surratt, like they're all just kind of in this place where I'm like,
I know.
I don't care.
Like I don't tier that I'm getting rid of right now, just because.
So I'm not taking. Yeah. I'm going to take the last one of them in a startup. I'm not like, I need to go get some Stribling, or I guess I didn't even have Chris Bell ahead of Stribling in some ways, especially back here because I'm swinging upside.
I like that.
But I also don't care. You know what I mean? Like I don't care.
Yeah,
these guys for the most part.
I hear that. All right, I want to do a couple more. Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin for sure.
Yeah, Godwin. I guess
where do you guys have Godwin?
I don't know.
I have Godwin at 46.
Okay.
Woo. I don't know where I have him.
What's the next one, Joe?
I don't know. That one's got me stumped.
Oh, 51.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
That's fair. All right. Well, I'm leaving Stribling where I have him, but I think
stand down business.
It's a big tier. This is the biggest tier, and this is what we always talk about with these wide receiver threes, right? It's just like this list never ends. But so that's my biggest tier, aside from the bottom tier, which is never ending, worthless.
Well, and these are guys that weekly performances could move them up 5 spots and down 5 spots every week if we so chose to do that. Whereas some of the guys up at the top, those weekly performances aren't going to sway us as much as they are with some of these guys. So I think this is the more like liquid group of wide receivers that really it just kind of all fluctuates and changes based on.
Joe, I've got one for you. Coin in the air. You ready?
Yeah.
Coin goes up in the air. Yep. Deshaun Stribling or Jalen Royals?
Oh man,
I'm taking Stribling. All right.
Just
but I do love me some Jalen Royals, and the case keeps getting better. What about Antonio Williams? I mean, let's just go to this class. I mean, I think we all had Stribling ranked higher than Williams, but the market has Williams way higher.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Yeah, I think. Look, I told you this bet on Williams on Antonio Williams is a bet on target share, right?
Agreed. It's a short-lived thing. Even this year, if there's no competition, I think if Antonio Williams overperforms this year, or performs up to expectation this year, I think he's a screaming sell. Midway through the season, when people get all excited about him, because I don't think his role is going to continue to exist across the NFL all that much more. This kind of slot only archetype is going extinct with the second tight end and even fullback coming back to a certain extent.
Shout out Mike Allstott. Okay, boys, I'm going to get us into these tight ends. We do have to have one more ad break from the sponsors, but we'll talk about all these tight ends before we ride out after this. And we are back on Dynasty Underground. Just got through all the wide receivers and talked about where they sat in our Dynasty rankings. Going to dig into this tight end class because it's an interesting one. You've heard us talk about a bunch of them, the top 2, as well as some dark horses. So let's get into it. Jax, you mentioned that you had something exciting going on in your tight end rankings. Is that something that you want to dive into right off the top or what?
Sure, why not? I just, you know what I did? I did something. And I did it for you, Trav.
No, for me?
Yeah. There's a new tier 1 in tight end fantasy football.
Tell me. Oh my God, tell me.
I got the same.
The new tier 1 is.
I just did it too.
Brock Bowers is the tight end 1. Colston Loveland is the tight end 2 in Dynasty.
And Trey McBride's the 3?
He is.
Wow. At 2 is incredible. I love you for that. I don't even have that. I have him at 3. I just, when you said that, put Colston Loveland in the same tier. I had him at 3 anyway.
He's 22 years old.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Trey McBride's 26. Not that age is everything, but that's 4 years. That's actually quite a bit. And I think Trey McBride was unbelievable. Like his season last year, 160 targets. A little bit of this Arizona last year feels like the Jameis Winston Cleveland Browns with Jerry Jeudy, where Jerry Jeudy was a counting stat maven. He was still like 1.7 yards per route run the year he had, all these targets and everything. He ran like almost 700 routes. Same thing with this Arizona team. They ran a lot of routes, man. And that's what got Michael Wilson overdrafted. And I'm not suggesting that Trey McBride is going to get quote unquote overdrafted because of this, but to some degree he is. In other words, I think the counting stats are overwhelming his real value, which, look, if everything water levels, I think Colson Loveland is the better bet to have the best next 5 years. Like, I mean, come on, this is Colson Loveland's time. It's coming, baby.
I like that take. I like that take a lot, Jax.
He's really good.
It's a really good take. I'm not ready to do that. Those are my 3 in the tier 1, which is, but I moved Loveland into that tier, but it's hard for me to go that far given the fact that Trey McBride had the season he just had.
He did.
And
presumably the season before.
And the season
He's
before
awesome.
with the lack
He's
of touchdowns.
awesome.
So it's like I need to see what this Bears team shakes out as, because we also saw Sam Laporta from one season to the next go from the tight end 1 overall to I think
there was
middling starter, right? And that's with Ben Johnson. So I think the spike seasons out of Colson Loveland can absolutely be there. And I think one of the key differences with Colson Loveland is his downfield winning ability. So
yes, there you go.
If Odunze turns out to be like this, I don't want to say like this rich man sacrificial X, where he's kind of just occupying that role. And then Burden's kind of the underneath guy, and then Colson Loveland is the seam stretcher, and whatever Roush or
Komet
and Komet are the blocking tight ends. I think that's fine, and I think that they can all earn like 22+% target share. So that's going to be great. That's going to be great. So
yeah. I'm workshopping it to some degree.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot because if you think about the Cardinals, we just talked about Marvin Harrison. We obviously saw what Michael Wilson did last year. So I don't know. It's probably something around the same target share on that team too, but with the worst quarterback and a worse offense, with 2 worst quarterbacks, right? So I don't know. I like the take. I'm not ready. This is a shock to me.
This is crazy. This is crazy.
Yeah. I like that you're workshopping it too, because you guys know my love for Colson Loveland. So this is almost like a hashtag Trav was right for me. So I'm kind of reveling in that. And yeah, I think you got it in the workshop, and I take a belt sandwich to that, and I could see that bad boy becoming smooth. So I think it's a nice take.
The thing I always say is I'd rather see these things first than last, right? And so I'm just open to this. Yeah. But seriously, right? You want to see these things before other people do, right? So hopefully I think this is where we're going.
So to me, tight end feels a little bit like running back, where it's like so clearly Bijan and Gibbs, and you're just saying, let's throw Jeremiah Love at number 2 right now. I'm just like, I'm not ready to do that yet. Gibbs and Bijan are so great. Like I got to see more.
Yep. Okay, so the rookies, boys. Neither of them are top 12 Dynasty tight ends.
I love how you say neither of them, like we have consensus on.
Neither of the top two, right? So Sadiq and Stowers, obviously the clear top 2 tight ends. Maybe not in that order for you. I'm pretty sure my order is different from both of yours. I have Sadiq at 13. I have Stowers at 14, right above Elijah Arroyo. So there's like a little group of young guys. Terrence Ferguson at 12. So that group there could fluctuate within itself, I think. But for now, I'm pretty happy with Sadiq and Stowers, with the uncertainty around their situations being at 13 and 14. Jack's curious. I'm certain you have them a different order than me, but I'm curious as to the spots that you've got them as well.
Just a quick note. If you go and you use last year 2025 stats and you use regular season plus postseason all together as one big season, because that's when Colson Loveland finally broke out, then he had 1.97 yards per route run on the season, and McBride was 1.78. That was good for 5th and 7th in the NFL at the tight end position. So I don't know, man. Loveland's, I think, right there with him on a per route basis. Even just last year, when you factor in those games he had in the playoffs, which were huge games, by the way. So he was huge during the playoffs. Whatever. We're moving on. Your question to me was about Omar Cooper. No. Kenyon, Sadiq,
Omar Cooper's
and Eli
teammate.
Stowers. Yeah, Eli
and
Stowers.
Makai Lemon's teammate.
Yes, exactly. So really, I think you might have asked me while I was looking that up where I have them.
You
Is
didn't
that
listen
correct?
at all, did you? Huh? You weren't even listening to 1 second of that, huh? It's okay. I'm fucking
maybe
used to
some
it.
of the listeners were still with me, wondering if I
Fine.
should have backed off that Loveland take or doubled down. I was just finding a way to double down.
That's okay. I'm used to it as the nagging mom of OTC. It's all good, boo.
You guys know that I'm and this also made me probably miss Loveland in too many spots, which I'm regretting now at this particular point. But I'm a little bit hesitant with these first round rookie tight ends. The checkered past is all I'm saying. And look, I don't love these two profiles in Stowers and Sadiq. I like Stowers a little bit more, but I have him behind, like in the Dalton Kincaid area at tight end 10. I'd rather have, Gadsden, Pitts, Kraft, Fannin, Warren, and the God tier, of course, ahead of them. So, even Laporta, Kincaid, somewhere in there, I think those guys are, in the tier. What do you guys think?
That's aggressive, in my opinion.
Mm.
My guess, big question is, like, what do I do with George Kittle and, the inconvenient truth that is Jake Ferguson? So I've got Stowers at 14 and Sadiq at 15 behind, these proven vets, and Kittle probably shouldn't be there in dynasty rankings. I feel like that's a lifetime achievement ranking. But if this is playing like we know he's gonna, I tend to think he's gonna produce.
The hard thing for Kittle with me is I have him at 10 right now, just because of the ceiling that he can have when he does play. But the hard thing for me is if I move him down, I got to move him down like 9 spots behind that group of similar production outlook guys, right? And I have Ferguson at 18, Joe, so I have him lower than you, which is interesting. You got your Arroyo, you got your Likely, you got your Goddard, you got your Brenton Strange. You know what I mean? Those guys are all behind Sadiq and Stowers for me, but I have them right ahead of where you got them, Joe, at 13 and 14.
So I just moved Kittle down. To 16, and I don't feel good about it at all. But I've got Brenton Strange ahead of Stowers and Sadiq. Year one, I don't know about the role for Stowers, and then Sadiq, I question the lack of production. Obviously, the ceiling is there, but the lack of production. And then there's also 2 pass catchers on that team that I think are going to earn more targets than him. So what are we left with on a bad team with no answer at quarterback long term?
Did I miss something? Did Brenton Strange do something last year that I missed?
I got him at 19.
Talking about Brenton Strange. I mean that with a full throat. What are we even talking about? I have him at like 25 or something. Like, Brenton Strange is nowhere near these guys.
You know what? That just might be my take lock.
Well, there was signs. So there was signs.
Signs is one thing. There's a lot of signs out there, but for me, this is. Yeah, I mean, I don't have Brenton Strange ahead of a few tight ends we're going to talk about in a moment. So for me, this is look, Eli Stowers and Kenyon Sadiq, if anything, would have to be moved up. I'm wondering, like, I'm looking at Isaiah Likely, and I'm like, okay, so for me, it's I think you got to look at the top 3: Bowers, Loveland, McBride. And then there's the Warren, Fannin, Kraft. We don't know exactly what's going to happen with these guys, but that's a tier.
Yep.
And then Laporta's been good, man. He's been really good. So Laporta, Pitts, Gadsden, and Kincaid, that's sort of like 4 guys that I'm very confident in.
Same page. We're on the exact same page to there.
So that's 10. But now, after that, like, there's no more guys. I mean, Kittle's a guy, but he's hurt. Who even knows what's going to happen? Look, if he's 100% healthy, then sure, we can put Kittle ahead of whatever. You can put him 10, 11. But at this particular point, it's like whoever's 11, as I look at it, it's like Likely, Stowers, Sadiq. That's how I have it right now. I could move Likely behind them. I just think Likely in this offense, I mean, gosh, maybe I'm just a little bit too aggressive. All right, I'm going to move likely behind the Eli Stowers and Sadiq range. So now,
I have that.
after the Sadiq, I have likely, Andrews, Kittle, Ferguson, Goddard. Lifetime Achievement Award guys that I think are going to be productive, guys that have done it before, have a certain amount of upside, but we're not exactly sure. All right. And then after that, it's like, then you can really start talking about these rookies and anything else, because nothing's for sure. Maybe Kelsey, maybe Kelsey. That's about it. After that, everything is a question mark.
You're right. All right. So I've just reshuffled the deck. So I'm thinking out loud to a certain extent here.
Yeah.
But I just went Stowers 12, likely 13, Sadiq 14, Kittle, Andrews, Goddard, lifetime achievement. I got to throw my Gunnar helm in there.
That's fine. That's fine, actually, because at some point you got to put someone there.
And then
it's true.
And then I'm going Hawkinson, Delp, Raridon, and Strange, probably where he belongs in the high 20s. I realized that was a legacy projection from after the season, and it's not where he belongs, especially
even like
after what they
Hunter Henry versus Brenton Strange. Who's going to score more points this year? It's like, I don't know, probably Hunter Henry. I would guess Hunter. I don't even know. Like, I mean, Brenton Strange has some upside, but really, does he? Because in that offense, we always talk about, can he be the top 2 target earner? He most certainly cannot.
Well, they've given every signal that they plan on running a lot of 2 tight end sets as well. They shocked us with some picks in that second round, so they've telegraphed to us, which makes the wide receiver room even more difficult to figure out.
If Nate Borkircher finds his way onto the NFL football field ahead of Parker Washington and Jacoby Myers and Brian Thomas Jr.,
didn't they draft Koziol too?
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
So we're right.
Code switcher.
Code switching Koziol. We're in the same book there. Where do you guys have Terrence Ferguson though? I have him as my tight end 11. I have him right above Sadiq and Stowers, and likely after that. So I'm still staying staunch on Ferguson. Obviously,
you're making the same mistake I just did with Strange, which is
but I think he's a much better bet than Strange though. Like, definitely better athlete, better profile, second round pick in an offense that is...
Don't say better athlete. I'll look up their RAS scores right now.
That is, whatever. That is in an offense that is elite at using multiple tight ends. I think the Terrence Ferguson breakout's coming this year. So that's where that ranking comes from, right? And like, if it doesn't happen this year, there's going to be a significant drop. That's fine. This is my kind of flag plant out on a limb breakout for tight ends, I guess.
It's not crazy, because basically it's whether or not you're putting him, like, because I have him behind the Lifetime Achievement Award guys.
Yeah.
So, like, depending on what kind of production you need, I have him. There's that whole, I have likely Andrews, Kittle, Ferguson, Goddard, Kelsey, Hunter Henry, Hawkinson, and then I have Terrence Ferguson right there, right? So I have Terrence Ferguson, and then Raritan, Claire, Delp, Jolly, actually. I like all those guys as high upside. And where you put the high upside unknown floor guys is up to you in your league, right?
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's just as well to take those guys at 11 because there's so much depth in your league at tight end, right? You know what I mean? So it does matter what you need. Like, obviously, if I need production specifically to win next year, like, I want Kelsey over Ferguson. If I don't give a shit because I already have, 2 tight ends,
you got a Pitts or a Laporta or something like that who's going to hold it down. Exactly. Yeah, it's a good point.
For the record, #Trav was right. They're both in the 9s on RAS score, but Ferguson edges out.
You fucking see that right there? You see that?
Strange.
Take it, eat it.
Oh man, suck
Shove
it, Joe.
that in your
stick that in your apple and smoke it, Joe. Okay, the next group that I've got, and I, much like I copped out on the wide receivers, I copped out on these guys as well. Eli Raridon, Oscar Delp, Max Clare. I have them right at the back of tight end 2 range in a group. 24, 5, 6.
Sure.
Behind Theo, Chig, Gunnar Helm is kind of in the area that I'm at for those guys. But the ceiling on them, like, I really hope that next season I'm putting them inside my top, 20.
First of all, how dare you with Gunnar Helm? He should be much higher in your rankings. He's a starting tight end and has a clear path to being the number 2 target earner on that team.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah,
that's going to be a hashtag Joe is right. Oh,
I can get him.
For these victory laps. I can't wait for these victory laps.
Can we do a Gunnar Helm versus Terrence Ferguson for
Oh, I've got Gunnar Helm over Terrence Ferguson at this point.
That's what. No, this season.
2026. What's the bet? What's the bet? I don't even know. Something fun.
Total fantasy points. Injuries don't matter. Like I'm not hearing any of this. Well, points per game if they have to play 6 games to qualify. Yeah. No. Total fantasy points. Who's gonna win?
Oh, that's easy. I mean, I'd take almost any bet at this point.
On Gunnar Helm?
Gunnar Helm versus Terrence Ferguson.
Yeah, I'm down. We can do money, but if we want to do something that's fun and fucking hilarious, I would love to do that too.
Fun and hilarious for sure.
Okay, so we're doing it. We've got until the start of the season for this. Listeners
make the bet.
Hit the comments with what we should do as our bet. Nothing like disgusting or stupid.
Don't be weird
out
something
there, that's fun and wholesome that we can do on the show.
I got fun and wholesome.
We're asking the listeners.
We're gonna wear the upside down pineapple shirt to a
no.
rave.
I was just gonna say, like, if I win, Trav has to chug a bottle of American maple syrup, and if I lose,
poison maple.
The bet is off. I would never do that in my life, Joe.
What's wrong with you, Joe? Are you okay?
I have a tree in my backyard that has a tap on it. Like, I'm not coming and drinking your second-rate fucking maple syrup.
He's not joking. That's real.
I have a tree in my backyard that has a spout.
Yep.
Come on, man. It's right behind the igloo. Like, come on.
Yep.
All right. So, anyways, listeners, please come up with a bet for me and this Baja Canadian.
Yeah.
But anyways, I've got Delp and Raridon sitting at 20 and 21, and that's as low as I'm willing to go. I've got both of them over Terrence Ferguson just because the Max Clare problem that just entered the equation on the Rams as well. He also, I think, has a role to fill. So that's kind of where I'm landing. And then Jolly I've got at 25. His situation is actually pretty darn interesting.
It's really good, yeah.
I just, I'm not a huge believer in the talent, but we're not going to ignore it either.
No, I mean, I'm not a huge believer in any of the talents here. I'm just definitely a believer in, like, one of them is probably going to be good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, somehow or another, we're going to look up and Raritan, Claire, Delp, Jolly, one's good. And I don't know which one it is. But I have them at, like, with Terrence Ferguson at 21 through 25, those 5 guys. And I think I just mentioned it before, but I'll say it again. Like, I'd be more than happy to move them up, right? Drafting like TJ Hawkinson, like
Mark Andrews.
He's totally replaceable. Well, Andrews could be a little bit different with. I mean, he actually has some serious ceiling baked into his season. Like maybe correct.
We've seen it for sure. The thing for me is that he's such a candidate to only play 6 games that it's like I don't even want to fucking touch it.
Well, then give me my Matt Hibner then.
Yeah.
I was thinking about with Kyler Murray how few touchdowns TJ Hawkinson is going to score if we were to follow. He's going to get a lot of work in the 20s, but
quietly done nothing the last few years. To be honest with you,
I know it breaks my heart.
It's true. I really you could move Hawkinson as far down as you want, and I'd be like, that's fine. I can't defend it. I can't defend it anymore.
Confession, because of where you guys are talking about it, I moved him up, but I had him behind these young tight ends we're talking about.
It's fine. It's fine. You can move him. You can move him as low as you want. I mean, you could move him behind a guy like, I don't know, Brenton Strange, and I wouldn't even have a problem with
it. Well put, sir. Well put. Boys, is that a wrap? Did we make a podcast?
Yeah,
I think we just made a podcast.
Yeah.
Always a good time, boys. It's been 2 weeks, like I said at the top, that I missed you guys, and so it felt right to get in here and have some laughs. As always, we had a good dosage of nonsense that hopefully our listeners enjoyed.
Joe, I don't want the listener. I do not want the listener to think that we're too rigid with these rankings. Right? There are gaping holes.
They're
in
loose
rankings,
loosely ranked,
and it's not that rigid.
No.
No.
Not
Pliable.
that rigid. Very pliable gapes on our rankings for sure. Yeah.
No seepage. I mean, wait.
Well,
sorry.
I don't know. We can't make that. We can't guarantee no seepage. There might be a little bit. We can't,
because it's so pliable.
We can't put that guarantee on the label, but we think it to be true. Let's just say that.
Right.
Yeah. So with that,
on that note,
please make sure you go subscribe to OTCFFB.com. It makes us proud to be able to say that on a website or on a show, that you can go and find our website and see all of the content in one place there. Thanks to Keegan for all the work. Thanks to you boys for all of us coming together doing it. And most importantly, thanks to our loyal followers, supporters, listeners, viewers for jumping on the bandwagon of what we're doing. It's been a blast for us, and this is only the beginning. And so with that, for Jax Falcone, for Joe Quavius Kubitakis, I am Trav. We'll see you next week. Peace.